No, I've been talking all this time and you've not been hearing me. This is a place in this, like I said, with Wyndham, because I was muted. But anyway, we're gonna go on, and we're gonna continue. If I have to repeat myself, so be it. Right. There's a place in Trinidad called Arima. So these are the people. They have a whole community in Arima, in Santa Rosa, in Trinidad. So these are the indigenous people of Arima. So basically, what the article was saying, that there's the queen of the Amerindians. So they, like, in the beginning they were called Caribs, but they don't like that name Caribs because of what it carries, because it makes them out like they are cannibals, but they're not, because they're indigenous to the country of Trinidad. There's also the ones in St. Lucia. There's also the ones in Barbados. So there's a variety of Amerindian people around the place. They have very Pacific features as well. So even if they're not part of the tribe, there is a look to the Amerindian people. So I'm going to push the screen back out. So like I said, when you can hear me, the Amerindian queen, and I call her no Carib because she ain't a cannibal. The Amerindian queen is a leader of the indigenous community in Trinidad and Tobago. The queen, whose title was established in 1875, is based at Santa Rosa First Peoples Community in Arima. This is the history of the Santa Rosa First Peoples Community. The Santa Rosa First Peoples Community is the major organization of indigenous people in Trinidad and Tobago. The indigenous of Arima, because I ain't calling them Caribs like me say, the indigenous people of Arima, are descended from the original Amerindians, inhabitants of Trinidad. The Amerindians from former, those are their tribal names. Were resettled to Arima between 1784 and 1786. So they've been there very long. They ain't just come this the other day and all that. And the biggest problem is that how they try to take them out of their traditions. So they try to introduce them to being Catholic and all that. So they have a first Catholic saint and all this. So that, right, we're going to skip a few things because we know that how some of the things was given to the people and some things was taken away. So the Amerindians relocated to open their land settlement by the influx of French settlers. So French settlers come, change up the thing, innit? And to separate the indigenous people from the newcomers, they gave them, changed their tribes and all that. So the governor, I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't deserve no power from me, but that's his name. So I'm not going to look him up neither. So we're going to go back. Now we're going to see their duties. Well, do we need to see their duties? I don't think we need to see their duties. But you see now, they bring them into Catholicism. The Spanish was first Europeans to colonize the island of Trinidad, which was already home to indigenous, well, let's say Caribbean indigenous group. But like I said, we're not going to use Carib. So they brought over Catholic, or tasked with they was trying to converting the Amerindian population to Catholicism, you know, and the Caribs and other groups resisted. Oh, the Carib groups, the Spanish, but the population was struck by a disease because of the Spanish. To see the Spanish over, the Spanish eventually settled, so they must have like resistance. They resisted. They resisted them. Yeah. So the Spanish eventually settled all of Trinidad's remaining indigenous population on a reservation, which is the same thing they did to the Indians in America, in California, if I remember rightly. The reservation at the Spanish mission at Santa Rosa de Arima, now the present day Santa Rosa First Peoples community in Arima. The indigenous population converted to Catholicism and adopted the Spanish language. Yeah, there is a lot of Spanish influence in Trinidad in certain parts. In Palau, Maine, I think it's the place is called. You see it most, that's up in the hills in Trinidad. In 1797, the British seized control of Trinidad. The British, like they shattered the Santa Rosa, so they must have dismantled the mission, whatever, the reservation. And however, the Catholic presence remained among the indigenous. So they must have was doing their traditional things and they go change up. The British also deported indigenous people from the Caribbean possessions, both ethnic and non-Carib. So ethnic Carib and non-Carib to Trinidad, where the descendants from the population of today's Santa Rosa First Peoples community. During the mid-1800s, Spanish missionaries, because there's missionaries was wicked, who remained on Trinidad during the British rule, decided to install a new leader for the Amerindian community. However, the ministries rejected the idea of a male chief train for the local Amerindians, so it must be local chief. Yeah. Instead, the ministries allow them to have so instead of having male, they have female. So the ministries allow them to have a line of female rulers. The community called the new leader Queen out of respect. The first recognized Carib Queen was Dolores McDavid, was installed in 1875. So I'm just looking at one set of Amerindian leaders in Trinidad. So they installed them at 1875, making the beginning of the to look through right now. It just makes it all. As you can see by the picture, let's see. I think we can see who the Queen is, who the leader is, because these are the leaders and elders of Rosa, Santa Rosa. They talk about her duties and all that, but I don't think we need to know about all her duties and what she has to do. So basically, you see, it's a whole heap of things. I think I can't even I can't even go through half of the articles I'm seeing right now. So much articles to look through right now. It just makes it like I'll get kind of happy on here. But yeah, there is a lot of the indigenous people just was treated like the Native Americans of America. I'm trying to see if I can find the ones who's doing all the traditions. Can't blow the lady up. So this is the carnival. Obviously, they show the carnival. You know, see, it's always represented by Indian feathers. Always feathers. Let me see if I can find next one. I doubt they will show, but they show the picture in the other one. See that one. Though the image search will say one thing, then it's something else. But as you can see in the carnival, they represent the Amerindians through their dress in the carnival. Okay. So Indians mass pays tribute. So we're going to show that one because I like how the man look in this one. And I know in New Orleans, this is very much represented, you know, the chiefs in their feathers, you know. Anyway, while many carnival characters are a form of protest or poke fun at the original French portes, planties or whatever, I don't know why they put these, just to say the word. Fancy Indians emerge as a moving tribute to the indigenous people of the atmosphere. From Mardi Gras in New Orleans, same thing I said, to Trinidad Carnival, fancy Indian mass has survived. And like, you know, of course they do the headdress and the costumes featuring the bright feathers. Over time, fancy Indian, that's his name, headpiece have become increasingly like beautiful, you know, beautiful and lovely, and are often supported by bamboo wires frames anchored onto the masquerader's body. Some Indians wear masks, others wear face paint. The Indian costumes are more reflective of North American Indians and combined rituals from Trinidad and Louisiana in the US and South America. See the elder, how he look? Can't even get a big sharp picture of him. Right, so there are many types of Indian mass, including fancy Indians, blue Indians, authentic Indians, wild Indians, red Indians, Washus, also known as wild Indians. Red Indians are usually, you see my English accent, probably can't even give that credit, are usually considered the oldest form. These bright red costumes sport no feathers, but often feature a firm moth like a moon form a moth like a moon. Black Indians who wear costumes that are mostly black with splatters of colour, usually gold or red, blue or yellow, pay a special tribute to the African and Amerindians who married after the Spanish conquest of the region and introduction of slavery. Each type of Indian has its own dance and language. Black Indian mass includes actual words presented in the Caribbean, including Spanish, French, English, moderate, the smolder of Amerindian African words. Traditionally, when Black Indians collude in the streets, they would face off in verbal battles with questions that any true Black Indian should be able to answer. Like baby dolls and some devil mass, Black Indians also collected money from the people. If anyone asked a Black Indian to speak, they would gesture to their money bag, indicating that person must pay first. Indian mass has always held a special tribute in Trinidad Carnival because it represents the first people, heritage and offerings and stunning costumes and rituals. So let's take a look at my guy again. And he looks so lovely in his colours, doesn't he? He just looks amazing. So he's one of the actual elders. So even though it seems like they're making play or making a joke or whatever, but they're actually doing traditional stuff. They're doing the language, they're doing all that stuff. So I don't want to ruin the history of it, because this is actually a nice ending to what I'm saying now, like about the Amerindians of Trinidad and Tobago, the Amerindians of St. Lucia, the Amerindians of Barbados, or what they call them, the indigenous ones, the indigenous people of the Caribbean. They do their traditions, even though they try to break them from the traditions, bringing Catholicism and all this to them, changing up their language. See, they keep their traditions, their colours, they carry their feathers, and they speak to each other in the language. So I'm going to end on this because I don't want to prolong and go on and on and on and on. So this is actually a nice ending to it. I wish I could actually play a video, because the videos explain a lot about how they do their traditions and how long they've been doing it for. And I think that same queen what they showed, or the elders, there is actually a video of them. So I'm going to come off. And also, if you want to know more about indigenous people, because there's indigenous people is everywhere, so please check Peanut 504, Peanut Nola 504, and 5 indigenous. You know, you get a very clear, straightforward everything. There's also Aborigine TV. There's a lot of them. You know, I think I can't even list half of them. I would definitely put Chief Peanut Nola and 504. Hi, yes. This was a lovely thing I did look up. I remember getting the video, but they put it as a copyright, the video, because they were saying that what, you mustn't put the video up or something like that. But the Amerindians, there is a picture of the queen, what I just found. So I'm gonna go and put her up. Hold up, let me find her. Because the baby's not here now, so I might as well take advantage of it. I think this is the queen. This is the queen of Santa Rosa. Now they are established there now. They're literally an established group in what you call it, in Trinidad. Let me see, I could find a video with her on it, even if it's not a straight one. Because they're so funny. Let me see. So ridiculous they are. Let me take this one out. Okay, I think I found something. I hope it works. Hey, my goodness. Because they're so ridiculous. The way they go on here sometimes. You're like, bro, you don't mess up your video. Hold up, let me see. Okay, so there's a YouTuber who went to Santa Rosa. Hi, somebody. Hi, everybody. Real talk, Lady D. Contessi Baron. I said your name right now. Contessi Baron. And mine's I just arrived. I think I see somebody else, but I'm not sure. Did I see anybody? No, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to show her in Santa Rosa, which my gran used to talk about. Why is it gone hollow like that? Just gone hollow like that. Oh. Okay, I'm going to play a bit of it.
Channel. So today we're here with the Santa Rosa First Peoples Community Chief Hernandez, Mr. Ricardo Barrett Hernandez, that is, and so he's just gonna tell us a little bit about the community and just the history behind the culture. So yeah guys, let's get right into the video.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about our community, which is known as the Santa Rosa First Peoples Community, previously called the Carib Community. But of course that was a wrong term. It's a term given by the colonizers, and there are so many negatives to the word Carib that we opted in more recent times to be called the Santa Rosa First Peoples. Now when you say First Peoples, you're really talking about the Aboriginal people, or the native peoples of Trinidad, which would include the Cariña, who we call the Caribs, the Locono, who we call the Arawaks, the Nikuyos, which is another nation of the First Peoples, the Chinese, the Shaguanis, the Tamanapogotos, the Waraos, and all these are just but some names of the different indigenous groups that inhabited Trinidad. Of course, they would have come from the mainland of South America mainly, the Venezuela and the Guyanas and so on. They inhabited Trinidad for as long as, you know, we can think about. Of years.
So what is like, what the celebrations is like, what you...
Well, it takes the form of a church service. The statue of Santa Rosa is decorated in a canopy that is built by the indigenous peoples and decorated. And after the Mass or the Catholic service, it is paraded through the streets of Arima. And after the religious part is finished, then the festivities would start. In the park west of the Catholic Church, if you know where that is in Santa Rosa here, there's where the festivities take place. Now in the earlier days, you had a more indigenous festival, in that indigenous dances, indigenous games, indigenous foods, and all that kind of thing. So you would find there.
Indigenous foods?
Well, you know, with the passage of times, traditions and events would change. And because of the many different influences we have in the country today, different ethnic influences and so, you would find a more mix of the celebration rather than a pure indigenous. But there are still indigenous elements. That cassava bread is a major staple of the indigenous people. And not cassava bread as a loaf of bread, but a flat wafer that is made out of the cassava. And to eat that, you have something that is called katara. or the pepper pot.
Right.
That is, the cassava juice is boiled and is flavored with pepper and different types of meat and so on. Wild meat is the meat of the indigenous people. Today, again, because of modernity and the times we live in, you would find during that period there is a closed season for hunting.
Right.
So that you wouldn't find wild meat, because I mean it's against the law. This is one of the things we have to lobby for, because it is impinging on the rights and freedom of the indigenous peoples. But that time will come.
After spending some time learning about the history and culture of the First Peoples, we were then invited inside to see what the Museum of the First Peoples looked like. You can take a further look at what some of the traditional artifacts looks like at this museum.
To me, what we are accustomed seeing, it's not like this. It's more. I can understand that. It's straight properly. This is cocoa, coffee, and so on.
Which one is it, cocoa?
This is cocoa. After we, so that now we're going to clean it and parch it to make the chocolate and so on. And then this is coffee beans. Lots more, but.
And what you need? You dry
That's
these to plant
yeah,
it?
we taken out the plant.
Okay.
This is after seeing how the processing of the cassava.
Mr. Hernandez, we just want to thank you so much for giving us a brief history of what the culture is like of the First Peoples, and just for the younger generation who may not know that you all even existed. It's a great way in which we could expose the culture, and we just want to thank you for that. So guys, that's it for my video here, and
Nearly lost that. This morning, everything nearly went left. Anyway, as I was saying, sorry, got sidetracked there. Yes, as you can see, right, we have indigenous people in Trinidad, okay? We have Chinese in Trinidad, we have Indian in Trinidad, you have a mixture, it's a melting pot. You would also see Douglas in Trinidad, yes, the half black, half Indian ones, yeah? And we have different types of religions. We have spiritual Baptists, we have Catholics and all that, and Muslim, everybody down there, Moorish, everybody down there, everybody. I am one day gonna try and play Vasco Stevenson's for you. Yeah, the Dogla, yes. We have plenty of them. I probably could not pass for one, but my hair is sort of semi straightish. Yeah, it's semi straightish. My son looks like a Cuban. He looks like a Cuban. He does. My daughter looks like a Bohemian. One looks like a Congolese. One looks like got Chinese eye. One look like Portuguese. I have a mixture pot in here. The only difference is I don't speak the language. I can count in Spanish, mind you, but I cannot talk Spanish. I was taught Spanish in school. So back to the build. So the indigenous people of Trinidad, I'm going to see if I could find more information upon them so you can see them. Shame I can't show more. It was the neighbor come, Must have heard me moaning. No, Trinidad is a very beautiful place. a very beautiful, beautiful island. I miss it so much. I miss the roti and the slush puppies and the smell and the doubles and the hiya Professor X. So I think I'm gonna put out the and we can have a small talk because I got to do other stuff later. So we might as well enjoy it while I'm here now. Let me put out the the link. Okay, so we are a melting pot of multitude of people, and that's why I'm gonna like nobody come tell me who I am because I know who I am. Plus, we had a Eurobars went to Trinidad. There's a lot of African spirituality, but we do have people who live up in the hills in Pan. May I always say the name wrong. There's people who live up in the hills who talk Spanish. They talk straight Spanish. Okay? They talk the Spanglish. Okay? So they're right up the top of the hill. I used to live in Arima and Digger Martin. I used to live in country. So I'm kind of a country bunkin, basically. I can start a fire. I can sort of build little things. I can't build big things, but sometimes the old Trinidad blood kicks in, and then I do strange things, and yeah, basically. So my sister over Deso in Suriname, we are very similar as well because Trinidad is near Venezuela, and we have a lot of similarities. A lot of similarities. Me and sister Amma have a lot of similarities between us. So we're not really. She's more like my twin. It's like twin. It's like finding your twin. It's really strange, but yeah. So I'm showing you the Amerindians. They've literally gotten over there. They've made it more. They are more established group now in Trinidad. Trinidad and Tobago, the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. They are a very big group. From what I've seen of the videos, they're very traditional. Let me see if I could find another one. For those who just entered the chat. Let me see if we can find next one. Okay, let me show this one then. This is an indigenous of Trinidad, which they call the so-called Carib.
Nomadic tribes of people who first settled in Trinidad were people who came from the South American mainland through the Orinoco Delta to explore the archipelago of Caribbean islands, of which Trinidad is one. They settled in various parts of Trinidad, and they are the following: the Banwari, the Meso, and the Shebato, the Nopoto, Yayo, and Nepoyo, the Kari Nepogato, Yanomami, and Wario, the Arawak, Lokono, Kalinas, and Shoguanese. Collectively, these people are called the Tainos or Amerindians or First Nations people. They grew cassava, tobacco, corn or maize, peppers and beans, cocoa and coffee anywhere they settled, and they had little villages, and they would move around the island creating villages wherever they went. Some of the names of the regions of Trinidad still carry the names that they gave them. A few are Piaco, Mucurapo, Maraval, Kirep, Oropouche, Nariva, Tunapuna, Kumana, Kumaka, Mayaro, Kuva, and Arima. They call this island Trinidad Airi, meaning the land of the hummingbird. The Cascadura fish found in the rivers of Trinidad was a favorite in the Amerindian diet. Here we have the poem by Alistair Macmillan, Airi, the land of the hummingbird. Those who eat the Cascadura will, the native legend says, wheresoever they may wander, end in Trinidad their days. And this lovely fragrant island, with its forest hills sublime, might well be the smiling Eden pictured in the book divine. Cocoa woods with scarlet glory of the stately immortals, waterfalls and fertile valleys, precipices, fairy dells, rills and rivers, green savannas, fruits and flowers and odors rich, waving sugarcane plantations, and the wondrous lake of pitch. Oh, the Bocas at the daybreak! How can one describe that scene? Or the little emerald islands with the sapphire sea between? Matchless country of Irie, fairer none could ever wish. Can you wonder of the legend of the Cascadura fish?
So as you see, most of the places they named are still there. Tunapuna is still there. Carrick's still there. They haven't renamed it.
Everything begins.
They haven't renamed it. And on top of that, right, we still eat the native food, which is the yams, the certain herbs that is a norm all around Trinidad. They also do traditional dances as well, but that might be another build. I don't think I can fit everything all in one, and you know me, I like to do information as well. So this is a side. This is the indigenous of Trinidad. I am continuing from the last video I did because it needed a bit more cushion, because though I spoke, you couldn't hear me talking, and I only spoke about what was written and about the queen that is there. I think she still reigned there till now. My grandmother never took me to see the Amerindians, so I didn't know about them. I didn't know about the Carib. I just thought Carib was a drink. So when you are in over here, like in the UK, and you see certain people with certain straight hair, certain Indian looking hair, and you know who else was Carib, I think, as well? The guy in Countryman. If you watch Countryman of the Jamaica, from a Jamaica movie, you will see there is a guy and he lives on the land with his family. And on the land of his family, they have a whole village and they live really natural lives, catching fish. They do the traditional donkey thing with all the traditional stuff, right? If you watch Countryman looks like one of my cousins. He resembles one of my cousins, right? He has the same kind of hair tone, everything, right? So I have cousins that look like Amerindians and Indians and Mr. Patel in the shop, okay? So when people try to tell you who you are, you're supposed to know who you are, okay? And that's why I am glad I had a chance to live in Trinidad, because I live in Trinidad. I school in Trinidad. Hiya, you just missed the thing, gal. Missed the thing. But anyway, if you replay it, you'll see it. So me and Sister Amma is very similar. The way our country goes, the way our country is. Tobago is the sister. Where it's actually called Trinidad and Tobago is a twin island. They're twin, right? So when you go there, even though there's loads of stuff happening there now, but there is beautiful places over in Trinidad. Oh, right at the top of a mountain, like I said, there's Spanish speaking people, and they dance like Spanish, like proper Spanish. They sing like Spanish. They call it I forgot the name for it though. I forgot the name. But when it come back to me, I will do a build on it, and you'll see, right? Right. So when people online is telling you whatever, you just carry on about your business because you know who you are. Okay. I know who I am at the end of the day. And that's why when I said Peanut Nola actually sent me looking, he sent me looking, you know. He sent me looking. And it's so strange because when they explain certain things, I realize to myself, I am very much like that naturally anyway, you know. I can start a fire. Yeah, I can do all that. I can't sculpture, but I know if I had to learn to do certain things. And as you see, hold on, let me find the video. As you see on their shoulders, oh no, I have the picture. I have the picture of the woman. Okay, let me show it. Let me show it. Let me show it. On the pictures, if you look on the pictures, is that her? Oh, there it is. If you look on the pictures, where's she today? We wear similar things to what Amma's people wear, what the what the what the Suriname people wear is very similar, right? We resemble each other. We are the mirror of each other. So the only thing is, I wasn't around the indigenous people to feel their energy or whatever, as people say. But it's great when you know who you are linked to in one sense. Now she looks like a very much a indigenous woman. Now you can see she has all the features and everything. So it's undeniable. It's undeniable. All right. I'm gonna see if I can play another video. If I can play another video, let me see. Let me show Amma because I know Amma be busy. You know. Oh, there it is. Let me see if I could find. Takes so long to do what it's got to do.
The best way to make money online.
Them are their stupid adverts. So let me take this off. And we go to the other one. And we go to the other one. Oh, you're here. You come at the right time still. Let me see if I could put on another one so you can see our similarities, yo.
That would have come to Trinidad, the Africans,
Oh, it's doing that thing again.
East Indians, the Chinese, and all the other ethnicities that would have come. The indigenous culture would have had some impact upon them. In the first instance, I will say in the form of housing. All right? The people who came lived in houses just as the indigenous peoples lived in thatch roof, that's different palms and so on. And as time went on, they started to put the adobe or the tapia, what we call the tapia, the mud and grass and so on. So that everybody, every ethnic group that came within those times lived in those, in that setting. And after that, the same furniture that the indigenous people would have used, which was not as sophisticated as we have today, all the other groups would have used. So there's a development. In terms of the food, the cassava was the main staple of the Amerindians of these parts, South America and the Caribbean and so on. Bitter cassava, and they made from it cassava bread and a cereal which we call farine. These were the two things they made from it. And from the juice of the cassava, they made caseric or catara, as we would call it in Trinidad, which is a seasoning and a preservative. So that everybody would have learned how to prepare this farine and this cassava bread, and they will have partake of it. And even today, there are still quite a few people who still use cassava bread, farine, and the casserole and so on. So today we use cassava in many different ways. So I would say definitely cassava in terms of the food, the culinary aspect of the cuisine would have impacted upon the culture. Second, that is corn is also an Amerindian food. And over the years it would have developed and gone through many different ways of preparation. So corn is another thing that would have impacted in terms of food. And the famous wild meat we have today. Of course, the Amerindians didn't have KFC. They didn't have all these fancy fast food, so they depended on the wildlife and fish. Right? They did a lot of fishing and so on. But of course our waterways, our rivers were much larger, cleaner and things like that. So there was fish in abundance. They buccaned or roasted their meat and their fish. They didn't stew, hardly any stewing or no stewing at all, and they boiled the food. So it was a soup kind of food and roasted meat and so on. And today we have the barbecue. So barbecue would have is a development of that early tradition and way of preparing food. In terms of spirituality, in the very early days, I think the spirituality had a greater impact. There are still traces of it today that we have and others will practice, because the spirituality of the first peoples were one that was entwined with nature. They were nature worshippers. They believed in God, the Great Spirit, but no one has ever seen God. So God manifested himself, herself, through the forms of nature. And so they had different deities. The forest, the water, the fire, the wind, and so on. And they would have different ceremonies that they would do.
In terms of the culture also, I know we have a lot of street names and sort of towns and rivers and mountains. Names stem from the Amerindian tribes.
Of course,
and also the dress and the beads and sorts of stuff is highly present in carnival and stuff.
Carnival, yes, carnival in a way is the costumes that you will see, the amount of feathers, the beads and all these things would have come from that influence of indigenous peoples. Today, of course, is more sophisticated and is taken to a different level, but originally a lot of the natural things would have come from the indigenous people, and certainly would have an impact on the carnival costumes that we have.
So we want just not a place and no better. Come Friday. So we want I would love my country forever. Yeah.
Chief, how do you intend to sort of keep the Amerindian culture alive for future generations to come?
Okay, we have been agitating for quite a while for some space, for land. As you know, when the mission was established, the Amerindians owned 1,320 acres of land. That was the mission given to them for their mission. But under the British, they lost it, which was an illegal actually. And so we have been lobbying for successive governments for land. Well, recently we have been granted 25 acres. It is nothing compared to 1,000 acres, but it is a start. So with this 25 acres, we plan to construct an Amerindian village. There's going to be the heritage village space that is going to be very much in the ways of the early days. Of course, with some upgrade. There will be no outhouses, but the setting, the houses, and most of the traditional things will be there. So that is what we want to do. In that we are going to be preserving the traditional housing, the skill of it, and the actual visual. They're going to be traditional ways of preparing the cassava. The very same way that they prepare and preserve the cassava, we're going to be doing that. The agriculture, the traditional ways of agriculture, the spirituality, the dances, and the performing arts, that part of the culture of the First Peoples. And the other parts of the village, of course, we want to erect a museum where we will house the artifacts of the First Peoples. There's going to be an administrative center, there's going to be a cultural space, a spiritual center, and there are going to be other buildings to accommodate for different uses there. So the idea is that when you come to that space, you're going to actually feel a part of how the Amerindians live, actually how they live, and the things they do, they did, and they still do today. We hope that this will create a sense of pride in the people. They will feel a belonging, they will feel a place, just as the other ethnicities feel a place in Trinidad. So we want to create that, re-establish that, and at the same time, not only for a showpiece, but it has to be sustainable. So there is going to be occupation and employment for people there of indigenous descent who will be occupied in various aspects of the culture, preserving and empowering at the same time. And we are working feverishly at that. So we have started earthworks in terms of cutting roads and doing drains and so on. And we have taken out the planners for the different buildings. We are now at the point where we would like to start construction maybe next year, so that people can actually visit and have a first-hand experience. We're going to have eco tours into the forest, into the mountain and things like that, where we can point out the different indigenous traits that were used for different aspects of the lifestyle of the indigenous peoples. So, okay, so now that we have talked about the indigenous peoples, it is traditional that you pay some respect to the ancestors. So that I would like to invite you now to do a small invocation, so that for blessings for future, not only for our community, but for your efforts in promoting the indigenous and other aspects of culture. Okay, so that in the indigenous spirituality, we call upon the Great Spirit, who in the Karenia or Karen language is called Tamushi. The Lokono or Arawak is called Adayali, and Wachinachi is the Great Father of the heavens. So we pay respect to the earth and awaken the spirit of spirit. And then we send our prayers to heaven to the Great Spirit. Again, Papa Tamushi Adayali Wachinachi again. You who dwell in the highest heaven, you have touched for the Great Spirit. From the Great Spirit, you can now surrender in the highest heaven. And we ask that the guardian spirit of the Yakuwa, the Swell Spirit, the guardian spirit of the East, those those of the north and those of the south. Alright, so you can just shake to the ground. And those in direction. Those of these
When they began our civilization process nearly 6,000 years back, the first piece of a complex and unique puzzle of Trinidad and Tobago's culture was laid by this community. We owe a lot to this very resilient group, who continues to play an important part in the makeup of our diverse society and will do so for generations to come. The next adventure of Caps and Paradise promises to be just as exciting. I thank you for viewing.
Yes, man. You see, I come from a very, very, very nice. Well, that's one part of me. because I'm half Trini, half Barbadian. So I'm sure if I go look up the Bajans of the indigenous, the Barbados indigenous, it'll probably be the same conclusion. They have the same food, the same look, the same this, the same that. That's what I'm saying. You can't divide the people who look like each other. And that's the problem. Because even if you don't know who you are, right, you would always know who you are. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, my gran, she's a grower. She used to grow cassava. She used to grow yam. She used to grow. She would always be doing something, but she was more for the spiritual house. Really, she's more a woman of the spiritual house. She was the wise woman of the community in Trinidad. Everybody come to her. Everybody and their mother come to her, right? So at the end of the day, the only reason why I didn't continue it over here because I have children. Otherwise, I probably would have continued it over here. But my mum does it in Jamaica, where she is. So even though I am not there, I would always be a Trinidadian. Even though I'm born in England, UK, I am always a Trinidadian. You're always a Trinidadian. You're always a Barbadian, no matter where you are, because you know where home is at the end of the day. The only thing is when you get there, the people don't recognize you to be of that, and they want to kill you off. But basically, as you can see, right, is similar. We are similar, no matter where you come from. You're right. There's only one place. Okay, we're all the same. All the blood run the same. The way our ancestors. Because I also have Saint Vincent blood too. Apparently, I'm Vincentian somewhere along the line. I can't remember ancestrally. So I have many, many. I'm like the whole world. The whole world roams in me, really, and in my children. You'll see it. It comes out in my children, right? And not only that, my last daughter, her dad's from Virgin Island, so there must be Virgin Island indigenous too. So anyhow you look, anyhow you turn up the sun, you would always find one space. And me, like I said, my cousin, if you go and look at a movie called Countryman, you'll see they live like indigenous people on the land because they live on the sea. They're near the sea. They fish. You see them with the cassava. You see them with even the ganja. Even you even see them farming the ganja. So really, really, like sometime, right? You don't choose where you are born, right? But at the same time, right? If the parents took you there, like me, I feed my children certain food. They don't like cassava and all that stuff. I wish they did though, right? But they like certain stuff. We more eat like Indian people sometimes. Indian people mix up with Jamaican or whatever, right? Because like I said, my mum's in Jamaica, so I have that touch of that. Plus, I'm always around Jamaican people. Jamaicans have maroon blood also, okay? And if you've been following the Richard Curry thing, they continue to do the maroons thing, which is still indigenous, okay? Okay, they still continue their traditions, right? The Al Capone people of Jamaica, okay? And accordingly, I know people will talk about nanny and but without all the knowing how to hide from their enslavers, they was able to hide in the bushes because they knew all the bushes, they knew all the places to hide, so they was able to do it. So I put this up because I want to show you, Lord. See, you don't know where people come from. You don't know. You can't judge a book by the cover. Okay, you can't judge a book by the cover. Okay, so because I was brought up in another spiritual house, yeah, and I always talk about the spiritual house where I was brought up in. So it just that it led me to the same place, but how I look at it, I'm still home no matter what spiritual house I did it. Because my gran used to play drum and do the same thing. They would dance to drum. And in the Baptist movement, that is one of the things in the Baptist, the Zionists, everybody do the same thing. Okay. So as I said, me not come to preach to nobody. I just come to show you how me and Sister Amma is very similar, and that's why we get on. And I'm sure there's others like us outside. We just haven't met each other. That's all it is. We haven't met each other. But we have family far from us. They just don't know them. We don't talk to each other face to face, but we're family. So if people wanna divide and carry on dividing and dividing and dividing, it's not gonna get you nowhere. Right? We just have to learn to work with each other. And maybe like me showing you this now, you'll see that I haven't been to them villages there, but like like I said, I was a country girl, and my gran used to be in the country, which is kind of similar. She had the whole place in the country. She did a spiritual house in the country, and nothing is new under the sun. Okay, that's why I said, if you see an object and you're attracted to it, I'll tell you one thing, right? That's your ancestral bone talking to you as well, because it happens. Like, I used to have a thing for feathers and this and that and the other. Though my face is very weird shape, everybody used to say I can't tell what part of Africa you come from, because I look like a few places. I look like I come from a few places. Because my face is long. It's not rounded. So, and it's straight. So you have to understand who you are, okay? Like, it's all and good sending your DNA to whoever you want to send it to, but sometimes, your own spirit will take you to the thing naturally, right? Naturally. And that's what I said. That's how I end up with the look of me. And I end up with something else I can't remember. I end up in certain places. Then I find out that how I have, like, our ancestors are Gambian as well. So it's only that I haven't been to Gambia, but I love the music. Okay? I love the music a lot. I love Congolese music a lot, and it's all French speaking music. I get on really good with Senegalese. I get on real good with Ugandans. I get on so good with Tanzanians. Listen, once you know, then you know. So, but I'm just saying, like I said, me nah come on here to educate and I like to give information. That's just how I am. But this here, like, if you go backwards and you see the part where I was building on the Amerindians, right? Because they don't like to be called Carib. They like to be called Amerindians. That's their name, okay? So anywhere you go, you will see an Amerindian. They are not Carib. And I don't know. I don't know about the indigenous one, the Aboriginal, because when I think of Aboriginal, I think of the Aboriginals in Australia. But when Peanut is about again, I'm gonna get him to come up here, because he's a little more, he lives in Louisiana, and they do the big costumes, and they do the chiefs all come out, and there's reasons behind it. So, everything have a reason behind it. You see the guy with the big feathers in the picture, an elder with the feathers. They said that how right they just do a question and answer. They test them to see if they are truly Amerindian and all that. So I ain't gonna be on here so long, but let me check the thingies. Okay. If you go to Soca Party, you see the diaspora and love and unity. Yeah, exactly. That's why I love Soca too. Okay, I'm at Fam House, but I'm listening. Okay. Professor X is in the house. Did I call everybody out? I think I did. I even said his name right. Right, Real Talk with Lady D. Contessi Baron. I like calling you Baron. Yeah, I said your name right now. I've learnt it now. Mind's Eye. Professor X. Yeah, cassava bread. My gran used to make cassava bread a lot, but I can't make it, unfortunately. Um, yeah, so basically, I thought I'd bring this build because I'm trying to find out another information right now. I'm looking to make sure it is true. So, with that said, I will take my leave. I done so I had to say. I'm gonna do my little build. And yeah, I'm gonna go now. So take care. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, wherever you are. Have a good Sunday. Cassava bread with pepper water. I think I seen cassava bread sell somewhere, but the Jamaicans call it bami. Oh, but anyways, don't get me started on food now. I'm going to go now. But anyway, take care. Have a good day. I mean, I did put out the link, but no one came up. But maybe because it's not the StreamYard, maybe. But with that said, I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna come off. Have a good day. A good afternoon. Until next build, and I will be able to do an open panel, maybe, but within reason. Within reason. If we're gonna talk on the subject, we're gonna talk on the subject. We ain't gonna change no subject, right? So yeah, everybody have a good day. I'll see you.